Hi, everybody. It's Professor Wade. This week, Professor Kiefer and I really talked about emerging adulthood in the epilogue and how we wanted to discuss this content with you. And we decided that keeping it a little more personal, maybe a little less academic, might be kind of a meaningful way to wrap up our semester together. So that's what we'll do. I decided to sort of create a list, just a really short, a few tidbits that I've learned here and there during my own emerging adulthood. I turn 30 next week, so I'm officially well in adulthood. And that's been kind of a reflective season for me, just looking back on my 20s and my time at Baylor as an undergraduate student and a graduate student. And so I have some thoughts that I just want to share with you guys. I didn't really rank them, but I did do sort of a numbered, bulleted list of 10 things I learned in emerging adulthood. So number 10, to have a friend, you have to be a friend. And I know that's something a lot of us, first started learning and talking about in probably early childhood. And I think that idea kind of sticks with you as you develop, but specifically in emerging adulthood, I found that I was surprised by how hard it is to make and sustain friendship relationships as you grow. And I think you guys are kind of on the precipice of that now. College typically for most people is the last time you're automatically guaranteed to be around a group of peers who are in a similar life stage, who likely have some interests and ways of thinking in common with you. And from there, you kind of just disperse. And then in the workplace and in your neighborhood and places like that, you're not necessarily guaranteed that same ease of friendship. So in thinking about that, I really found that, I had to learn how to be a friend all over again. And for me, that's involved a lot of things like supporting friends when they make decisions that are different from what I would make in their shoes, or, encouraging friends to pursue interests that I don't share with them, and recognizing that that will mean less time together. So some of those sacrifices and challenges are just part of friendship and adulthood. So that was number 10. Number 9, don't speak negatively about people behind their backs. So by that, really what I mean is don't gossip. I have seen a lot of friendships and a lot of professional relationships really suffer because people speak ill of others. And that can be a real challenge. There's definitely some gray area there when it comes to wanting to speak honestly about your thoughts and opinions, or needing someone to vent to. And I would encourage you to really seek out people you can trust, maybe people that are sort of removed from that situation, to share those thoughts with. But I would also say a good marker for me has been, if I wouldn't say it to the person directly, I really shouldn't say it to anyone else either. So that, I'm not perfect at any of these things. It's definitely something that I still work on. But keeping that lesson in mind early can save you from a lot of difficulty, and can really establish you as someone that other people can trust. Number 8 is kind of the flip side of number 9. And that is, when you think something kind about someone, say it, tell them. I'm not not super into like New Year's resolutions, but this has actually been mine for the last several years. When I think complimentary things about people, I try really hard to tell them and not just think it. Because I think that's a really easy way to, maintain the connection with people, and to show them in small incremental pieces every day that I care about them and value them and respect them. And with that, I think keeping the, not compliments necessarily, but keeping the things that you say that are kind to people about things that have meaning and value and depth. So really, when you think things like, wow, I really admire, their persistence in problem solving, or that person is so great at hearing both sides of an argument and bringing people together. I think those are the kinds of things that mean a lot when you hear them from someone that you care about. So I would encourage you to, when you think something kind about someone else, just tell them. Number 7, this one was really inspired by kind of the role social media plays in our lives. And, for me, during my emerging adulthood years, social media was a thing. I'm not that old, but definitely less of a huge part of daily life than it is now for you guys. And so in thinking through that, just the idea that none of us are ever going to reach that like Instagram ideal version of ourselves. So I wanted to encourage you to let people see you in what I called the during. I think social media and just the media in general that we consume these days tends to be sort of dichotomous, good or bad, black or white, before and after, and sort of skips the beautiful process of growing in the during. And that really is what the bulk of our lives is in the midst, in the mess, in that season of growth. And I think some of us have a tendency to sort of hide that piece of our lives from others. And I just wanted to encourage you to share it and let other people see you in your messy during season. Number 6, self-care is more than face masks and pedicures. I think that's something else that our like popularized culture has sort of shifted from the true definition of. You'll see a lot of lists of things to do for self-care, and most of them are like kind of silly and and don't always make us feel deeply cared for. And I think that's what the real human desire is. So one way that I found to sort of combat that pop culture definition of self-care is to think about responding to myself like I would my best friend. So when you don't get the job that you wanted, respond to yourself like you would your best friend. What would you say to them? If you're going through a difficult breakup, how would you support your best friend through that? Do those same things for yourself, or ask for those same things for yourself. And I think that's where we really get at authentic self-care. And that is the act of just being caring toward yourself every day. Number 5, prioritize talking with your loved ones, especially your parents, your grandparents, even your favorite elderly neighbor. I think that's a really easy and genuine way to show respect and care for those people. But it's also such a cool opportunity to get to know them on a different level. One of my favorite things about my 20s has been getting to know my parents as just people and my grandparents as people, and not just my parents or just my grandparents. And I hope, that each of you get to go through that with your family and people you care about as well. But I mean, I guarantee you they have some great stories and some life lessons that you can learn from through them. But it also just deepens those relationships. Number 4, be smart with your money. I won't say a whole lot more about this one because I know it looks different for everybody. But I will say one of the best decisions I made, and really it wasn't a decision because it was a required course, but one of the best courses I took at Baylor was personal financial management. If you have the opportunity to take a course on that topic, I highly encourage you to do so. Particularly because it arms you with the opportunity to make smart decisions on your own 2 feet when the financial decisions are fairly small, so that you feel more confident and comfortable trusting yourself when it comes time to make bigger financial decisions later down the road. Number 3, whatever your belief system is, practice it authentically. I think a lot of students at Baylor probably share this same experience. But as a freshman at Baylor, way back in 2009, that was really my first opportunity to think about my faith and practice my faith on my own. I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. I was at church every Wednesday and twice on Sundays, and really a lot of the year, more days than even that. And being on my own for the first time and being in charge of my daily life for the first time really was a cool opportunity for me to choose either deepening that same faith or going in a different direction. For me, it ended up being deepening that same faith, but it was very transformative in that I think prior to being on my own, I would have considered my faith more about religion and sort of the religious practice. Whereas today, I consider it a relationship that really does impact every aspect of my life. And again, I know that we're a diverse group with a lot of different beliefs represented. So whatever your guiding principles are, whatever you choose to stake your life on, make sure that it's your choice and practice it authentically. Number 2, this one is also kind of inspired by media and pop culture. But I think, at some point in our lives, we will all struggle with self-image. It may be about your personality, it may be body image. But I think there's an easy way to sort of combat that. And, for body image specifically, I think a cool reframing tool is when you feel like the desire or the urge to nitpick or compare. Comparison can be a really negative thing for a lot of us. Instead of that, make a list or find some way to practice gratitude for the things your body can do. Most of us are pretty well able-bodied. Even those of us who aren't, there's always something to be thankful for. So instead of picking apart the size, shape, look of whatever part of your body you feel a little insecure about, think about what it can do for you instead. Those strong legs carry you on hikes with your friends where you've made a lot of great memories. Or if you would prefer to be more muscular than you are, maybe your slender body makes you a really good swimmer. I think reframing our thinking in that way can be a really powerful tool. Number 1, this is probably the only one that I actually did rank. But number 1, I put listen to your feelings, but remember they're not facts. So feelings aren't facts. And in fact, it can be pretty damaging to treat them as facts. When we think about or talk about emotions as if that is the whole true only story, it's pretty cool, but our brains actually seek out evidence to prove that that's true. So that subconscious bias comes in and really just, proves the point that our feelings told us were facts. That's not to say that we should distrust our feelings, but I think recognizing them for what they really are as a tool to alert us to something going on in our lives. For example, like anger can be a powerful tool to show you, oh, something in this situation is not serving me well and I need to make a change. Happiness can serve as a tool to tell you, seek out more of this. Whatever this is, it's good and we need more of it in our life. So recognizing your emotions, respecting them, acknowledging them, letting them come and go, but not, staking our minds on that is the only story and that is the truth, um, can help you avoid a lot of heartache. So that's my list of 10 things I learned in emerging adulthood. I hope it was helpful or at least enjoyable. And I thank you guys for your time as I kind of walked down memory lane a little bit. All right. Thanks, you guys.